So let's talk engineering notebook project pages. Anytime you start a new project, you're going to open up to two fresh blank pages, one on the left, one on the right. We're going to take up all of both sides of the pages, so it's important to have them full set of real estate for you to use. All right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to do a title of the project, and I'm going to do very, very, very generic things on here. You should be using specific things like the specific name of your project, the specific date, and not just write down title and date. But those are the first things you do. You do your title for your project, and you do the date that you're starting it. Okay, those are kind of delineates from the last project you're working on to this new project. The next thing kind of going down the page is going to be the drawing. I am going to do not a good drawing. You should do as good a drawing as you can. Okay, but this drawing is kind of just giving an overview of what your project is going to look like. You can see there's zero detail here. This is not a good example of a good engineering notebook project page. This is just showing you the layout. All right. As you progress, you're going to want to do things like show dimensions, and you're going to want to say what material things are made out of. But this is your opportunity to kind of give just a summary of what this thing is going to look like. In subsequent pages in your engineering notebook, you're going to do better sketches of what it's going to look like and what materials you might use. But this is just kind of capturing the overview of the project as a whole. Next, you're going to do materials down here. You're going to write down anything that you're doing. Check the guidelines doc that's linked, so you can see what you're supposed to have down here for CDE 1. Usually just what you're using. CDE 2, what you're using and how much of it. And then CDE 3, 4, we might do things like include a budget for it, or talk about other materials that you tried but didn't wind up using. Okay. Next side, purpose. Purpose of the project. For CDE 1, this is usually just going to be the prompt. Okay, but if you are doing a 20-time project or you're in CD2 or beyond, you're going to talk about why you're making whatever it is that you're making. So again, check the guidelines for how much detail should be in here. CD1 is just like why this project fits the prompt. So you can have a summary of the prompt right here and why this design fits the prompt for this project. All right, skill goals here. All right, we have stuff that we know how to do. We have stuff that we want to learn how to do. And we have questions that we know that we have about our design. So this is stuff that we've done before, tools that we've used before, materials that we've worked with before. This is our base knowledge that we know that we're working with. This is stuff that we know that we don't know how to use yet, or that we know that we're practicing. All right, so maybe it's a specific tool that you're working on or a material that you've used before but you want to get better at. And questions in here, this is about your design itself. This is, so I know I need to investigate what kind of materials I'm going to use, or I need to see whether it looks better on the CNC machine or the laser cutter, and the pros and cons in there. That sort of questions for your design. All right, our timeline, right in here. Okay, if nothing else, write down the date that it needs to be completed and that you're presenting on it. You can give yourself more specifics about day by day. In fact, on CDE2 and beyond, you need to give yourself goals for when you're going to hit some of these guidelines. So this is by and large the gist of it. As you get better at making your engineering notebooks, you can give yourself a goal for quality or for features. So this is like describe you're done. Talking about what things need to be present in order for you to find this a successful project. All right, and some other things that you might want to consider are micro projects. So if you're using a new tool for the first time, and this is more for CD2 and beyond, if you know that you need to get more practice with a laser cutter, you might say, I'm going to do a laser micro project here to just get practice at using the tool or working with material before you go in and make your final version. All right, so just to recap, title and date when you start the project, a good drawing of what your project's going to look like after you practice it in the subsequent pages, list of materials that you're using with the right amount of details based on what class you're in, the purpose of this project, whether that's the prompt and just a sentence about it, or talking about your goal and your audience, your list of know, want, and questions, know what you know how to do already, what you want to learn, and what questions you have about your design choices, a timeline with at least the data that needs to be done by, and then additionally you can have what features you want to have present, and any micro projects that you might do along the way. Be sure to check the guidelines doc that's linked for more detail on any of these.